Well, hello, welcome back to the grind. 1982 Volkswagen VW Westfalia, right? And we're doing the Subaru switch. A couple of years ago, Dave very kindly donated this motor to the channel, and he said, "I've got a Subaru motor that'll fit in that." And I said, "Oh shit, I'll take it." And he donated it. So that's quite very, very kind. Anyhow, I've got the, last week was just getting it to see if it was actually a good motor. And it is a good motor. It's got lots of oil pressure, and it's got lots of, like this time here, I've got it hooked on. That's the Volkswagen motor, which is a good motor. And it's all of the, I've got it all undone and moved everything onto this platform here, and this thing here from Kennedy Engineering makes it so it all fits together. So anyway, there you go. That's this is all together, and you know, stick around, see how I did. The starter motor that comes on the Volkswagen van and the Kennedy Engineering guys, they say that it likely isn't going to be enough to make it work, and it isn't. So I'll have a look for a high torque starter motor, then see what we can go from there. So, but this week we got this accomplished, and you can stick around and see what everything I did, and hopefully you enjoy it, and you know, like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and tell all your neighbors. So anyway, there you go. See you later. Bye bye. Okay, so I'm cleaning up around here and in there, so I can get that into there and maybe start working on it. But I've got most of the snow off the roof of it, as much as I can reach, but I will go ahead and pull it out this way and then see if I can get some more snow off it. Scrape this came off of the roof, so I'll see if I can scrape that back with the tractor, get it out of the way. And then in here, I'm just going to make some room so I can, I'll push that over that way if I can, and then make some room so I'll push that back there, and then I'll just slide the Porsche right in here. Be good. Okay, we'll see how we go. Okay, there we go. Cleaned up in here a bunch. Well, moved stuff around. That's a mess. Don't look that way. But then this is 8 feet across there. I need 6 feet for the Porsche, and I need 14 feet. We'll bring it right about the Kia. So the door will close, everything will fit in. I'll just leave that lawnmower where it is. If I had to, I could turn it sideways, but don't have to, so I won't. Charge the battery up on it, and leave it till spring. This one here, the battery's unhooked. That one there, the battery's unhooked. Don't even know what's in the Mercedes. Battery's unhooked on that one back there too. The what do they call that? Mini Cooper. Yep. Okay, now I'll see if I can get the Porsche down off the lift and see if I can get it, see if it'll start. It'll start. Whoop. Famous last words. What do you think? Will it go? Oh, I think it likely will. I'll just open the door here a bit. Oh, way down to get into this crap. was easy, wasn't it? So anyway, I'll let it warm up for a few minutes. Open the door and I'll take that engine stand over to the other side. Other side's getting full. Yeah, I'll get that out of that side and into that side maybe, without running over the camera. Yeah, there we are. Room to spare, hey? Have room for another whole, well, a very small car right here. But take out that. Anyway, or a motorcycle or two. Anyway, there we are. Not much really room left. I'll have to do more on these projects here. I think I'll do the Volkswagen van. Maybe I'll get this thing onto the road this spring here too. Then I'll take a look at that. Well, actually, maybe on that. That might be a wedding car. We'll just see. Okay. Anyway, there we go. This is all set in here. We'll see if I can get that into there. I'm 100% sure that won't start because it doesn't have a coil in it. And I'm gonna get Gus. Gus is gonna come over and help me, and I'll pull it around with the tractor and see if we can get it pushed into here. See how that works out. Yeah, there. I just hooked it on and it pulled out so easy that I was unprepared. Anyway, there it is. It's out. I'm going to wait for Gus to come along and he's going to help me get it moved into there. Maybe a half hour or so, then I'll film the rest of that. In the meantime, I'll clean the roof off if I can, so I don't have to have that snow inside the shop, right? I forgot all about you guys. Gus did a great job of driving it. It's in here. Just let it thaw out overnight and then we'll do whatever we want tomorrow. That's great. Pretty. Ah, perfect. Yeah, no sweat. What I'll do is, well, I've got those wheelie things. I just lift it up and push it over. So that makes it easy. Anyhow, it fills up the garage, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, there we go. We made it. Yeah, there. I forgot how much room this thing took up in here. But it fits. And I'll get it up on a lift tomorrow. It can't go too high, but it goes high enough that you can get underneath it. And while I'm at it, there's a... This door doesn't close quite right, and it's just right there. Let's see if I can get that fixed. Anyhow, the looks pretty good. It'll take a while for it to thaw out, which is okay with me. That's enough in here for today. Come back tomorrow and try some more. Oh, okay. Here it is in the shop, and dried up and ready to put up on a lift. Now I've gone over it. I haven't taken a real good look at it for a couple of years, right? I think it's 2 years ago that I finished painting and kind of stuck it outside. A little bit of bubble right there, but over on this side here, everything's pretty good except for right. I didn't do a very good job right here sealing this, because that whole seam there is rusting. Now this part here, I think I had welded new from here that way, but I didn't weld new on this seam part. So I might have to just grind that down and redo it. I think I can fix that up with paint. Anyway, so I'll fix that up later, and I maybe fix the door thing up later. Otherwise it looks pretty good. Like there's no, all the body work's okay. I think I was getting tired over there of that. Which will happen, right? And a little tiny bubble right there. I guess I could take a look underneath here and see if there's anything else underneath here. Air vent is here, and this is something for, like, the air vent is there, but it comes inside here, goes into a tube here, and sort of just comes out right here. So being able to put a radiator and this part, it'd be difficult. So I think the radiator will have to go up to the front somehow. But what we'll do is we'll get the motor in and then figure out what we can do for cooling it. Like, I think that you can put a radiator behind there, but I'm not sure. We'll just wait and see. I've got a should fix that too, right? Okay, we'll get to that. I've got a radiator upstairs that's made for the BMW E24, which would likely more than cool this thing if I could shoehorn it in there somehow. We'll take a look. That's about as high as it'll go. It gets pretty close to that thing up there. Now, all this water came roaring down when I started lifting it, because it's a little bit tilt to the front, and that was all the water that was in the drip rails there. It came right down here and down here. Anyway, that's all right. Okay, not much room around the front of it, but lots of room around the back, so which is where I have to be working. And it's high enough that I can get underneath there and work without any too much trouble. I wonder if I have to take this out to get the motor in, but I forget all the little things. But I might have to I'll let it down again and then start working on getting the wiring off. I just wanted to see that it would go up and down okay. And it seems to be pretty solid on the lift. Well, that's the exhaust system for the, or whatever you call that thing, the heater. And I put that little deflector on there so it wouldn't burn through this. Take a look around here now, just see if anything's gone bad. I think everything's okay on this. Don't know what happened here. There's some discoloration on the paint. Looks like something was dripping. Maybe, who knows what, eh? I think it'll clean off. Everything here looks pretty good. It's all, like, this is all in really good shape underneath here. Don't have any trouble with that. Now, I think about the thinking about the radiator business. I might just have to take the spare tire out of there. Looks like there's room up there to put a radiator in. We'll just see, because I think that's where it has to go. Then I'll put some steel lines or metal lines that go from the front to the back, and then I'd have to have a fan on the radiator. Guess that's all. I'll let this stuff dry before I get crawling underneath there. All looks okay here. Nothing went spectacularly bad on me. Everything looks like it's going to be okay. Only a couple of bad spots were like right here. A little bit of bubbling there. That's bodywork could have been better, right? Not sealed well enough. So I'll figure out how to seal that properly. Otherwise it was all pretty good. And the other part here, this same thing on this little bit of a here, and I know that that's all new metal there because I welded that in, but I just didn't seal it properly. And right here, and that's really not so bad, likely pretty bad underneath it, but I know exactly what's going on there, so we'll fix that up. This whole thing, that's all new metal, and this is all new metal, and then getting that body line in there was a treat. And then getting that in so it wasn't all warped was a treat too, but actually it's not too bad. I've learned quite a bit since then, so I might be able to do a better job now if I really wanted to, but I certainly don't want to. Okay, and underneath here is okay. Have to get that plug in there properly. And all the brake lines and everything are good. They're all new. Everything's new. Well, new 2 years ago. When did I do this? A couple of years ago. Okay, time to start working and quit gacking. Okay, start taking it apart. I've got the wiring unhooked. Now that ballast resistor there was turned to powder, and I can see up, I don't know, you can't see it, but up and underneath there's been some rodent activity. Oh dear. Hopefully there's no more anywhere else in the car. We'll just wait and see. But first off, I'll get this air box off of here. This wire's got to get unhooked off of that. When that's off, then I can get the computer bit out of there, and then it's just a matter of unbolting it, I think. You know, unhooking some wires here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, there. That's off. One hose hooking on there. And no rodents in there. And the air filter's brand new. Anyway. And then that just pops right out of there. There's where the rodents have been. I'll get the vacuum cleaner and get that cleaned up. Anyway, this thing here holds on to the top of the air cleaner, and then there was one glass missing there. I'll just put this back together and then it can stay as one piece. Yeah, there, I've unhooked this throttle thing here. This will come down with the car, with the engine and everything. That'll likely come down with it too, but I remember one time I bent it from it got bent. Anyway, next is, now that's the wiring from this thing here, which is a double relay for the fuel. That's a relay for the fuel pump. Not sure how I'm going to make it work on the new system. This is wiring for the coil and stuff. Computer just sitting up here. Everything's still hooked up. This wire here is the field wire for the generator or alternator. Now the alternator wires will all come down with it because they were just hooked onto the back of the starter back there. I don't think there's any other wires hooked onto it anywhere. Nope, looks like it's all clear. That's a ground wire or blue and white wire. I forget what that one's for. Oh, should have marked it before I took it apart. Anyway, carry on. And then this thing here, oop, that's snow falling off the roof out there. This thing here is some sort of something, part of the computer system. And that right there is the fuel pressure regulator, which I'll unhook from the other side. But I think everything up here is unhooked. I can just drop the motor out. This oil thing here can come off and get out of the way, and that will make it go down easier maybe. I think it does. This thing here should come out of the way too. I'll take that off of there, or just let it slide this way because it will be in the way when it's going down, right? Okay, do that. Yeah, I think that's mostly everything undone here. On the other side, there's a fuel line on the other side right here, but I get that from underneath, and then the other fuel line over on that side, return fuel line to get from underneath. This hose here is unhooked. It goes right on here. That's for the, I don't know what it's for. A couple of canisters up there. And what else? That's it. I got this out of the way. This thing here, I left it right where it is. Okay, this thing here can just live right there. That's where it stays. That's where that lives. Okay, down below I go. Yeah, I got the beam I put up there for lifting motors out of the middle of the car. This one here isn't that way. If I took that, just undid it, and I see how I've got it held on there. Yeah, I can just undo it, and then just slide it forward out of the way so that I can lift the car up higher. That would likely be a good thing to do. Maybe I'll go get a ladder and do that. Okay, there we go. Moved it quite a ways that way. Now I have to get that chain around there properly so that I can hang that on it again. But I'll do that when I need it. Don't need it yet. That should go up and allow the thing without breaking the windshield, right? That would be a good thing not to break the windshield on this thing. There, that's quite a bit higher. Now I can work at it a bunch easier. So I've got to let it down. I don't know, that high. I'll put it down on that there. No, I got to let it down on something with wheels. So I'll let it down on a couple of those wheelie things, if I can find some, and then wheel it into, well, let the motor down. I mean, first I got to get it out of there, but I can actually have room to work now. Think about what I have to take apart first. Maybe I'll take the electricity off the starter, which is right up there, and then take the wheel axles out, get a baggie or something over them, and carry on. Okay, I've got this axle removed. Now this, I just put a nut on there to hold that all together, because last time I had this apart, this thing fell apart on me, and it was difficult to get it back together. And there's a hair in it. Yeah, I'll get the hair out of there. So I'm going to leave all the bolts in there, and then just put a plastic over it and tape that on. That'll be good. Oops, there. Put that over it and tape it on. That'll be good. That'll keep that black grease out of my face too. Yeah, both the axles are off. Now I remember last time this was in the way, but to get it out of the way you have to drain the oil, and I don't want to do that. So you have to just sort of work when you're letting it down. This side here has got to be up and this side's got to be down. So I just will tie that up somewhere over there, and then maybe if this side down, that tied up over there, then I can push the engine over that way and let it down past here. So that works, yep. Okay, now here, I'm talking to myself there. Need more light. Where's my light? Over here. Oops. Now we're getting stuff in the way. And I plugged off the fuel line with just a drill. And on this side, the return line's right up there. You can't really see it, but you see maybe that green tape up there? That's the end of the return line. I taped that up. Then, as usual, yeah, this leaks right here. There's a seal in here that leaks. That's not, I can live with that. This apparatus here has to come off because it holds on to all this stuff. So that will come off next, and I think this will hold it up. Oh, that has to come off there too. No, see, this is held on here separate, so this one here comes off separately. Then there's a grounder line on here somewhere. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there, right, the ground line's right there, so just take that off there, and that'll be good. Then this end here is ready to come out, and we'll go to the other end. There's only 4 bolts at the other end to hold it up. So, there we go. Okay, that doings there comes off. That's the automatic transmission gear selector. Now this thing here is something I sort of built on there. I don't know. I'll just see how it comes off of there. Not remembering. I think it's a bolt on there. And this has got a holder on it. So, but that's got to come apart. Oh yeah, that thing there can just, I don't have to take it apart. I can just pop that off and that's good. Then everything comes with it. Okay, I'll pop that thing out of there maybe. Okay, I think I have everything unhooked that I have to get unhooked. This is the throttle cable here, and its little bracket thing goes right up in, you can't see very well, but right there. Those 2 bolts. The wires that are hooked onto the car are off of that. Fuel line's off. This is the mechanism for the gear shift off. I just took the nut off that. When I take the weight off that, I'll be able to drive that nut through. So then I have to just lay it down on something that I can move. I'll just figure something out here. And then take the weight off of it on the motor, and then just lift the hoist up, and the whole thing will just come back out. Okay, I think. I think that's how it works. We'll see. Okay, here's the plan. Well, now this light's right in your eye. Put the light that way. Okay, here's the plan. I'll take my workmate, set it up right underneath here. Then I'll let the car down to that height. Undo all the whatever you call those things over there. Oh, motor brackets over there and here. Then drop it onto the table. That'll be fine. Then I can just hook, after that I'll just hook the motor onto the car, lift it up a bit, you know, just on cables, on a couple of straps. Take that out, drop it down onto a wheelie thing. That will work well. Okay, that's what I'll do. Yeah, so there's the bolt out of the front end. Front of the motor. I just slid underneath there and it came out easy. Just the weight is off the front, but it's still on the back here a bit. So I'm going to just take down the you can't see anything. Oh, here's the light. Take down the motor mounts there and see how that works out. Okay, that's coming down. I don't know, can you see in there that the weight is off that front side, but there's still weight on the back side here, so I imagine it'll come down when that comes down, so we'll just see what happens here. Okay. Up there somewhere, right? There. A bit higher, right? Okay. Try that. Anyhow, they come out pretty easy. I put a couple of extra sticks underneath there. I'll show you when I get it done. Got to sort of lie down there. That's how I did it last on the other side. Okay. Should be a nut and a washer on top there. Yeah, there, see, I just put those extra couple of boards underneath there just to let it rest. Now it should go up. The motor, the van should go up and the motor should stay down. We'll just see. I think it's all set. Don't think there's anything else holding on to it. Anyway, check it out. So I'm going to go and set the lift up. You tell me what's happening here. I guess it's coming down, eh? Now I have to worry about the axles. I'll be a minute or two here. I'm gonna see if I can sort out the axles a bit. I'll take it up another few inches and see what happens. Something caught somewhere, eh? This. Oh, so the whole thing is pretty tippy there. It's kind of just on the tipping on the front there. Okay, I'll just check it out and see if there's anything else that is going to be a problem. I think everything's free. I'll go check it out underneath. Okay, we'll see what. I'll come back to you. Well, now I've run into a bit of an issue. The my workmate collapsed. Well, it didn't collapse, but it's had a little bit of a failure over here. It shouldn't be bent like that. It should be straight. Okay, now I've got a. So what I'll do is I'll strap the front end of the motor up. And then see if I can strap the back end of the motor up and lift it up, and that'll be good. And get it off of that. Okay, I'll work on this. Yeah, so I've got this strap on the back here, and I've got a strap on the front. You can't really see it, but it's way up there. I'm going to lift the whole car up and get it off of that, I guess. The plan was there it came up. I do believe, yep. Yeah, that's out of there now. Oh, I'll get it out of there, and then I guess you have to need some repair work on that. That's strange that would bend like that, but guess that's what welders are for, right? Okay. Anyway, on to the next bit. Okay. I don't know if did you see all that? I had this strapped on to right there. And I had the front strapped on to the thing over there, the whatever you call that, the trailing arm. Then I've got it out of its troubles, and it's sitting down on these wheelie things, right? Now I've got to lift the van up, then we'll rearrange these wheelie things. So I'm going to lift the van up enough so I can just hook the motor to it and then lift the motor up a bit, let the wheelie things down to a more flat surface, because that's kind of what I would call spooky, right? Anyhow, the biggest hard part is to get. See the baggies there, that's the axles, to get them up and around where they don't hook on anything. So you have to just sort of move the motor this way, get that side up, move the motor that way, and get that side up. And then things sort of work out. Now, let's see if I can get the whole thing to go up a bit more without because it's just sort of hanging in there now, right? See what happens. Yeah, I just went straight up and it all worked out okay. Yay. That's all right. Now I'll just put this thing across here again. I'll put one strap around the front end of it and one strap around on the back end of it here. Like there's a hook point right on there that I couldn't reach before, of course, but now I can reach it. Then we can come straight up with it. That'll get the motor clear of my very, very sketchy motor stand there. Then I'll drop it back down again onto that motor stand. Okay, see where I've got it hooked right up there and then back here, right there. I'm just gonna lift the whole van up and that'll bring the motor with it, I hope. And then I'll take that sketchiness out from underneath there, I hope. We'll just see what happens here. There, that's clear, right? Yeah. Okay. I think I want to have that one and that one on there. Let it come down on that, then I'll go and sort out the front side. Then all I have to do is let it down and I can pull that rod out of there, we'll hope. We'll just see what happens here. Then we can go back to plan A, what we were planning on in the first place, which was quite a long time ago before I screwed everything up. Okay. Now that and that one right there. Guess that's as good a place as any to put it, right? We'll see. I'll let it down. You can watch. Let me know if the whole thing squishes you. Okay? Okay. Got to pull the pins. There, I think we got it. Tell me if anything goes wrong. Yeah, that'd be that, hey? So, that wasn't so bad. See, here's where the critters were. I'll have to get the vacuum out for that, but I'll get that when I get it over there by the vacuum. Now to get it to the front end of the shop, I want it over there so I can detach the motor. Then I don't know what I'm going to do with this motor. I'll just put it in the other shop, I guess, for a while. Make sure I close off all of the openings. Maybe I'll just put everything back into where it's supposed to be, like the air box and all that kind of stuff. Put it in. That'll keep the critters out of it. It's a good motor. Anyway, there. So that's enough for today, I think. I'm going to come, yeah, it's 5 o'clock now. I'm just going to leave it there for the night, let it settle, and come back in the morning and we'll sort out what to do with, how to get it over the hump. Maybe I'll get some help. Okay, back at it and ready to move this, I hope. So I've got this transmission side strapped onto that wheelie thing, and the back side's onto the wheelie thing. Now I'll see if I can lift it up or get it moved over this hump. You want to watch? This might be, might be exciting, might not be, might be a failure. There, got it moved. It only took a whole bunch of grunting and all sorts of grunting. Anyhow, it's moved, so that's good. So now I have to just get it blocked up on something so that I can get the two parts apart. That shouldn't be too difficult. Well, famous last words. What I'm going to do is let the van down and then push it back as far as it'll go towards the door there. Bring up all my wood up here so that I can have access to it. I'll use it for blocking this up. Okay. Yeah, there's Subaru motor and the Volkswagen motor. Now the Volkswagen motor looks an awful lot bigger, but actually if you take away all the shrouding and stuff, it's about, from here to here is about 19 inches, and there to there is about 30 inches, so they're about the same size. And just more stuff, hey? Anyway, let's see what I can do about changing configuration here. Yeah, there I got it up just a bit off the ground, and this is loose here, and that's pretty solid that way. So and I can roll it around. So what? And then I've got that one there in the back, sort of balanced right in the middle of the motor, so it should take the weight of the motor all right and be able to move the motor back and forth separate from this part. But what I'll do is see if I can hook on something on the front here so that this part here is independent from that part on the hook. So I'll find something there that'll hook onto it, which may be difficult to do because, gee whiz, there is a bolt right there that it might go onto. Or if I undo, there's... Okay, I'll work on it. You have to get 4 bolts in there that take the, or 3 bolts that take off the torque converter, because I want the torque converter to stay with this part here, if at all possible. Okay, let's see what I can do. Oh, okay, where am I? Okay, now I've got that. Here's the hoist, right? Seems to be fairly safe, like that. Let me see, I'll show you. Right, just like that. Now, I might need, I don't know what I'll do about a motor mount for it. Let's see if I can take that one off and see how close it comes to that one. Motor mounts for that are right at the front of the motor, not at the back of the motor. Have to maybe have a look into that, see how things are. Okay, next is to get the torque converter unhooked from this motor so that it can go with the thing that way. Now I've got my very special tool. This tool here I built quite a long time ago. It fits into that Volkswagen thing there. It's a well, it used to be 1 1/16 socket, and I just welded a bolt to the side of it so that it fits into that groove that it has to fit into, so you can turn that motor over. Anyhow, that's there. Then this thing here, I've got it on the 13mm bolt in there, and you just screw those things out carefully. I'm going to take it off there now and just get it out by hand the rest of the way, I hope. Yeah, there's not much to these. They're just little tiny things. And this one here is one that I made because one was missing. It needs a head on it like that though. Okay, I'll get the other two out. I think there's only 3. Yeah, that's 3 of them out of there. Now, when they unscrew, sometimes they come off the end of your wrench, and then have your magnet ready to go in there and get them with the magnet, because that's the best thing to do. Whoops. Now, there's 2 bolts on top, one right underneath there, one right underneath here. Right there. I think they're 17s? Not sure. Maybe 19s. And I'll undo them, then there's 2 at the bottom that'll undo, and then it should slide apart. Now this thing here is free, the torque converter. It's not attached on there anymore, so that's good. Okay, we'll see if we can get it apart. Well, that was quick. So I just lifted this part here up with that, and it just slid off there. Yeah, there's only 3 bolts holding that one. There's place for 6 bolts on the other, on that one there. But maybe I'll just slide this out of the way, slide that one into the way, and put them together, will I? See how everything's 328. I might get that done. Have to do some preparation. See this now, this hole here, which one of the bolts goes, it's threaded on this one, but that has a stud, so I have to do some work on that. I think I have to cut away part of that. Oh, that's not in my game plan, but I'll just see what I can come up with. Yeah, sure enough, this one here, I have to drill that out to a 7/16 size, and then same size as that. Then flatten it off in the back so I can get a nut on it right in there. That's going to be interesting without getting a bunch of crud into this, right? Okay, we'll see what we can do. Thought I'd put the camera on, but I didn't. Anyway, I got about that far in so far. Now I have to drill a guide hole for that. The rest of it, hopefully that's made a mark in the center there. This cast iron is pretty soft. Pretty near through. Yeah. I'll put a bit of a guide hole there. All these drills I've sharpened up by myself on the grinder. They're pretty darn sharp. Yeah, that's pretty well the center. Now you can see where that came through right there. So I'll have to make that divot there before I wonder how, maybe I'll just see if I can just cut out a piece, right? With a die grinder, or with a, whatever you call that thing. angle grinder, whatever. Yeah, those guys at the Kennedy Engineering, they suggest to use a step drill and go in there, make it as big as you can, then go in from the other side and make it as big as you can. That'll make a hole in there, but that means I have to take this off of here. I really didn't want to do that. Guess that's what's happening. Yeah, that's pretty near done. Have to make it flatter against here now, so that the nut will fit on there, and not be pulling weird. Okay, more filing to do there. Yeah, that's sort of there. Now I have to make it a bit bigger up on this side here, so that I can get a wrench in there. It's big enough down that side, I think, to get a wrench on it. Anyway, getting there. Yeah, there. That'll work now. I used all the tools in the chest, right? This thing here I used. Then I used the die grinder in there. Then this thing here, which often I find doesn't work worth a damn on anything, but it worked for this. So sometimes things work. Okay, anyhow, and of course an electric drill to drill out the hole. So drilled to the right size. That should just slide in there, except I have to take the starter motor off because this bolt goes in the other way on the new one. Now I'll take the starter motor off, then I'll put the what do you call that thing, the torque converter back onto it. I'll clean up in there. Oh yeah, even another tool was a flat file, right? Or rounded side, but I used the flat file side. So, use them all. Yeah, their starter's off. Take it apart, take the back off here and put some grease on that. Clean that up a bit. I cleaned it up and then it went rusty, right? Because I didn't put paint on it. So I should put some paint on it. Same with this, I cleaned this all up and then it went rusty because I didn't put paint on it. It's cast iron, I wasn't too worried about it. Anyway, I'll put on the torque converter, which is underneath that rag there. Put that on tomorrow. I marked on here and I marked on there so that it goes in exactly the same spot. Just, it doesn't have to, but just because those splines were lined up before, they'll be lined up again. And I'll put a little bit of oil or something on the seal there and slide it in. Okay, that's enough for today. See you later. It's got the vortex has arrived. Looks about the same as yesterday, but it's damn cold. Like minus 20 in the daytime. Yesterday was minus 5 or minus 6, which was, you know, you can take that. But minus 20 in the daytime, I don't know what it'll be overnight. Usually around here, as it gets cold, it might get minus 20 overnight. And daytime's minus, 12 to 15 or something like that. But cold. Might be getting a little bit of power out of those things there. Maybe not. We'll just see. There we go. I'll get to quit whining and get to work here. Oops. Turn on some lights. Okay, here I am, back at it. Back with the Volkswagen bus. This is like the motor. The new motor was no cost to me. It came as a donation from Dave. But then hooking up the to get a radiator and all the hookups for that, and everything to install it, likely about $1,000. So it's not. And then the plate there for Kennedy Engineering stuff. This stuff here is, I forget what it cost. I bought it a couple of years ago when the motor came, and I think it was around $500 or $600 back then, USA money. And so it's not a real cheap conversion, but it's interesting anyhow. So this thing here, I might be able to use some of the exhaust parts off of here, and I might be able to use some other bits off it. We'll wait and see. Okay, I'll see if I can get this torque converter back on. Oh, first off, I'm gonna find my silicone grease and put a bit of silicone grease on the outside of that. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, there, that stuff there. I just put a thin coat around this part right there. Oh, now I put a white mark on here somewhere. I'll find it. There it is. So that white mark there and that white mark there line up, and I spilled some fluid already. Oh dear. See if I can get it on there without spilling too much fluid all over the place. I'm losing all my silveride. Oh well. There. Oh, yeah, there goes the fluid, right? Okay. Yeah. That seems to be on. Okay. That's back in place. Now we'll see how much fluid we lost. We lost a bit, but not that much. Okay. Now I won't be able to tell if it's leaking or not for a while because there'll be a bit of fluid in there. See if I can get a screwdriver in there and clean that out. Yeah, there, I've just unhooked that from everything, so it's just hanging on my chain. And this is good. That's in spot. So now I'll see if I can get that over here and see if I can get the two to match up. So that's at a fixed height. I think I'll tie that down to that cart. And that's at a fixed height. And then this one here I can move up and down. Okay. Yeah, here it is, the other one. This is actually pretty solid on here because it's in a cardboard box. Now I gotta just let this one down a bit and then get it glided in there. See what happens. Well, that was surprisingly simple. Anyway, the 4 bolts that hold it together is all in there. It just slid right in, just like that. Just like it was supposed to be there. And I didn't put a locking one on here. I'm going to wait till I get the starter on. So I'm going to take the starter and do some cleanup on it. Then I've got a battery somewhere. Oh, there's a battery in the car. So I'll see if I can turn the motor over some with a battery. Maybe I should. I'll charge up that battery in there. Yeah, so I just pulled this cover off of here. It was on there like that, and it's got 2 or 3 shims there, 2 shims, and this locking device that just holds that from moving backwards and forward. I'm going to put some of that sil grease on here, and then I'll put it all back together, and that'll lubricate this bearing a bit. Yeah, bit of an aerosol overhaul here. Yeah, always remember to press the button, right? I'll let this just settle, and then I have to get some oil into this. Don't know how much or what size what it takes for oil. Perhaps I'll read the owner's manual, which is here somewhere, over there. I'll read the owner's manual and find out what it's supposed to take. Then I might have to go and get some oil. I've got some of this 1540 Rotella stuff, but I think this maybe shouldn't use that kind. Wait and see. Okay, so I put oil in it. I've got that 15W40, which is okay by the book to have 15W40. That's for diesel engines, but that's okay to use to get it to. It won't be in there for too long, that oil. I'll just get it running and stuff like that. But famous last words, eh? Now, the next thing I want to do is when that dries, I'll put that in and see if I can run the motor over enough to get some oil pressure, and that would be good. Then I'll also run the motor over and see about the compression, see how the compression is. But I have to unhook this first because got to let air into it for compression, right? And I don't want to suck that into it, so I'll get that off of there. Here now, I did toy with the idea of putting a electronic throttle control on this, but that's something as I went into my research, hey, I'd researched it, figured out something, and then I wondered what goes on. Like, this is the control that comes from the throttle here. Where am I here? This thing here, and the throttle cable hooks onto it here, pulls on that, and then you see this bit here. That tells the transmission how much throttle is on. So then the transmission knows how much pressure to put on the plates. So if you don't have that hooked up and adjusted right, and then it's got a little bit of you can feel a click at the end here, and that's for the kick down. So when you put it to the floor, it'll kick it down a gear or two, whatever. But if you don't have this hooked up, then you're going to burn your transmission out right away. So same thing goes for the BMW, the E10 in there. So I've got to get that thing adjusted properly. I've got it hooked up, but I never spend any time adjusting it. So I did figure out how to adjust it. When the throttle is at full throttle, then this should push onto that clicky thing, and just push onto it. So that's something I got to figure out. Then this has to be like turned around or something so that it'll go the right way and be able to. Maybe I have to put something above it there to make that go. Don't know. I'll think about it. Like, this is the throttle here. This is for cruise control if you have the cruise control hooked on. Either one of them will run it, but that's actually the throttle there, and then you don't have so many springs against you. If you wanted extra springs against you, I guess you could put it on here. But oh dear, all those things. Anyway, I'm going to take the spark plugs out, and we'll see if we can get the motor to turn over after I put in the starter motor. Yeah, before this starter motor goes back on, see this, the way that it's designed from the factory is this captures the bolt in there, and then this used to be all the way around, but it's broken somewhere along the line. I don't know if I did that or somebody else did that. Anyhow, but now I'll have to take a grinder and just grind that back so that I can turn the nut without it getting into that thing. I think I'm ready to give it a twist. I've got like negative there, positive there on there. Got my little starter button hooked onto here and here. There it is. I've got this light, that's the oil pressure sender, I think. And then this is on the battery in here, the right way. They were the wrong way when I first did it, but now they're the right way. Let's see if this thing turns. We don't know. Let's give it a crank. Oh! Starter works fine, but it's not, the plate isn't hooked to the motor. So, hey, there we go. I just spins like mad there. Uh-oh. I wonder if that's just the oil I spilled earlier. Okay, so now I gotta hook that plate onto the motor. Oh dear. Oh, I was so excited, but you know, 1 step forward, 5 steps back. Ah, there we go. Don't get under a suspended load. That's just safety. This one here is holding the weight of the motor, and on the back I've got that holding the weight of the transmission. So now I've got this here turned to the right spot for that first bolt to go in. So I'll just put the bolt in and then turn the motor over to the next one. Yeah, it takes a bit of fiddling to get it in there, but then by the final result I have to use a 1/4-inch drive stuff with a little tiny ratchet, and this and that tightens it up. Now I'll move it around to the next one and see if we can get that in. Yeah, so one of those screws is there. There's 3 of them going around. The one will be there, right? The next one will be, I measured this whole thing, diameter is 42 point something or other. So, and divided by 3. One is there, and the other one's there, and the third one's there. Well, the first one's there. I've already got it done. Just put it on with the tape measure. Okay. Anyway, we'll just see how close we get. Usually those things come pretty close, and it's got to line up right about there at the, 32 mark or 28 mark. Yeah, there. That's all hooked together now underneath here. Yeah, you can see there. Anyway, 3 of them went in. Now, here's a hint. Don't tighten any of them until, like, just put them in snug. Don't tighten any of them until you get all of them in, because otherwise the plate needs a little bit of shifting back and forth to be able to hook on there. Different with, that's automatic transmissions. A lot different with a standard transmission, but this is automatic, so there you go. Anyway, I'm going to let it down to a more manageable height, a height that I feel more comfortable at, and then we'll go from there. There, I think we're all set to try out the great experiment again. Is this thing, yeah, it's pretty solid there. Here we go. Wait, nothing going to be into anything? No. I think we're all clear. Turning. Do the switch on your oil pressure. There, it's got oil pressure. That's good. Let's see if the starter's getting hot on that. No. Okay, let's try out, I'll just let that sit for a minute. See how long the oil pressure before it goes down. Quite a long time. A long time. Is that thing still hooked? Yeah. Is it still hooked there? Yeah. It's still not on. Ah, it's over 20 seconds. I'll let you know how long it goes. A long time before the oil pressure came off. I'm going to spin it up again and see if it takes as long this time. Okay, it's 15 seconds on the clock here. Like last time it took about, half a minute or a minute before it dropped off. Eventually I went and I tapped on that, and I don't know whether that was really what did it or not. I'll just try tapping on that again and see what happens. No, no. So it must have been just, yeah, it just holds the oil pressure pretty good. So that says something good about the bearings and everything. Oil pressure light still hasn't come off, and I've been, oh there, it just came off. Just like that. And I had time to, you know, put this in and everything. So let's see what this one says. This is number 1 cylinder. Whoa, that's got compression. I don't know. Let's see if I can get it to turn over. Might have to get a bit heavier starter for this thing. It says 90 on here, but I think that yeah, it needs a bit more starter to make that thing go, right? We'll just see. Huh, isn't that something? Maybe the battery, let the battery charge up a bit. All the cylinders come up exactly the same, like that 90 pounds per square inch or whatever it is. But the thing is turning them over very slowly. I'm going to go over in the other shop, and I think I have the Subaru starter over there, see if it's anywhere near to what is required to go in there. Yeah, so all the brushes are moving easy, and there's lots of action on them still. Ay, ay, ay. This thing here, I guess that's got lots of wire on it. So that's pretty dirty. I'll clean that up, put it back in, and see what happens. Wonder where the other end of this is. There must be a bearing there somewhere. Yeah, it's just like a brass bearing. Lots of debris in there from something, but whoops. Okay, let me clean this up, and then we'll see what we can do about it. Okay, wonder where my handle is. There it is. So I've took this apart, and I showed you I cleaned the armature off, and then I cleaned the brushes and all that kind of stuff. See if it's got any more oomph to it now. Don't think so. But I'll put a spark plug in and see if it'll turn it over with a well, I'll put the compression tester in and see if it'll turn it over. Okay, compression test in just 1 cylinder, right? So if it doesn't turn it over with 1 cylinder, it needs a bit more oomph. Now it might be that there's not enough power getting through that line. Do you think that would be it? Not hot. Neither one of them's hot. Or it's just too much motor for it. I imagine it wouldn't turn it at all if there's 4 of them there. Anyway, it comes up to that 90 plus a bit. So likely if it could get to turn over, it would turn up to maybe 150 or something. Who knows? Anyway, I guess I got to go hunting for a replacement starter, a high torque starter. Now you see this one here is just straight drive on it, right? But the one that comes with the Subaru is a gear drive. Like this is the motor here, and then it drives the gear in here, and so that gives it likely 10 times the power, high torque, which is what that motor needs. Oh, okay, well, there you go. I guess I'll have to wait till I get a proper starter before I try throwing it in the car. It doesn't matter because the starter can go in anytime. So I'll think about it. So I think this is a good spot to leave this one, because next step is getting it into the car and then start hooking up stuff, try to figure out a cooling system. Now I did look up again to get a Volkswagen, like one that goes in this, one that fits in here, and you can get all the Go Westy has a kit, has got all the shrouds, well not the shrouds, but it's got all the stuff that goes around the radiator, and the proper mounts for the bottom of it and stuff like that. So maybe I'll get that. It's not too obscene a price. There's some of them are pretty expensive. Like you can spend $400 for USA for a radiator, but the one from Go Westy is about $200, and by the time you get all the other stuff that go with it, it's $400. Then on Amazon, there's a nice fan that would fit into it nicely. Like you can get the fan for it that is proper, but you can't get the shroud. So might as well just get a fan that'll fit into it nicely, and then cover the whole thing. So anyhow, but that's enough for this episode. We'll leave it at that. I think I did all right. Everything's there. The motor's got compression. It's got oil pressure, and the oil pressure stays up forever. Needs a starter. Okay, there we are. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Yeah, welcome to the polar vortex. It was about minus 23 or maybe even minus 24 overnight last night, and it's warmed up to a balmy minus 20 now, and the sun's out. Where the sun gets you, it's pretty nice, but then the wind blows and it's not so nice. But that sure did make the ice form on the bay all the way across. Yeah, all of a sudden, no open water, we're iced in. That's good. Yeah, ice all the way across. Isn't that something? How do you like that? And the doggy has found whatever is left over by the coyote. Got a roll in it. Can't chew it, got a roll in it. Anyway, there we are. Okay. Damn cold. See you later.